Hi folks, this is your MWIS Planning Outlook with the details into the weekend and beyond. Things are looking warmer in the later stages of June, with the air often coming towards us from the subtropics rather than the Arctic as we saw earlier in the month. We'll see some fine weather in the picture a lot of the time, but some nuisance value areas of rain and drizzle coming in from the Atlantic occasionally. It's quite a complex weather situation at the moment. This is the pressure patterns averaged out over the whole week through to Monday the 24th of June. We've got low pressure generally up toward the north around Iceland and Greenland, over the North Atlantic as well. We've got high pressure just extending north from the Azores towards Britain and Ireland. Some warm and humid southwest of the air being drawn in, some weak weather fronts in the mix as well coming in off the Atlantic, and a zone of low pressure around the Bay of Biscay, Spain and Portugal, and bits of energy from this system being drawn across France and just grazing southeastern Britain as well, broadly missing the mountain areas, but the complications from these features all in the mix just for making the forecast detail quite awkward as we head a few days forwards. Wednesday sees high pressure extending across the country with fine conditions for many places, with some broken cloud and sunshine, some misty low cloud around for central Scotland, England and Wales for a time in the morning will generally disperse to give good amounts of sun. Some light winds here as well through the day. Breezier though for the highlands further northwards, and that wind will be strengthening through the daytime, reaching gale force across northwesternmost mountains through the late afternoon and evening. The warm front passing eastwards, giving some patchy light rain across northern Scotland, mostly toward the northwest. A few spits and spots maybe just elsewhere, but broadly dry for much of the West Highlands, the central and eastern regions as well. The cold front further out over the Atlantic will eventually make some progress in by Wednesday evening, so some wetter conditions developing later for northwestern parts again. The remnants of those fronts will still be draped across Scotland on Thursday, and not too much left on them, but nuisance value amounts of light rain and drizzle, mostly toward the west coast, some low cloud around as well. All of that tending to drift northwards during the daytime, so areas south from Mull in the morning, rather damp and grey, and that's extending northwards through Skye and a bit further up the west coast as well with time through the afternoon. A tendency to improve though around Loch Lomond and Arran and further northwards with time. Further inland and generally it's dry. There'll be some cloudy skies capping some of the high tops for a while, but some good breaks towards many summits. The wind fairly light as a south-southwesterly, strongest near to the west coast around Skye. England and Wales generally a fine day under high pressure with broken cloud and sunny spells, best of those near to the west coast in the afternoon. Some light sea breezes here as well. Low pressure and fronts are still out over the Atlantic, and that's trying to make some inroads from the west on Friday. Uncertainty of timing on that one as these fronts push across Ireland. It could be that many places escape with a reasonably dry day. Some local patches of rain, an odd burst of a shower could just be in there very locally, with some variable cloud and occasional sunshine. Just a risk though of some wetter conditions moving further in with time, especially with the afternoon and evening towards more western mountains from Scotland, even south into Wales as that weather front just moves further in. The low pressure system over southeast England more likely staying away and pulling away toward the Low Countries. Overall, fairly light winds, reasonably mild temperatures, may just strengthen that southerly breeze near to the west coast though with time. Saturday's chart doesn't really show a great deal, and maybe this highlights the complexity in the forecast. Not too much happening, but nuisance amounts of cloud and patchy rain or drizzle, and the odd shower forming during the afternoon is perhaps the best way to think about Saturday's forecast at this stage. Overall, light winds and reasonably mild and fairly warm temperatures if you do get some sunshine come through, but I won't be promising you an absolutely glorious day at this stage. I think there could be a lot of cloud around, some of that shrouding the hills for a time, maybe just that tendency to improve through the afternoon, and western coastal hills perhaps coming through better through the afternoon and evening. Just watch that risk of a heavy shower through Saturday afternoon well inland and further eastwards across Scotland, maybe the North Pennines as well. Fairly high pressure is trying to expand further in on Sunday, so by and large a fine day, pleasantly warm with some sunny spells, well broken cloud. Just a weak cold front up toward the northwest of Scotland may give more in the way of cloud here, perhaps a little bit of patchy light rain, but it's a weak feature, so I wouldn't expect too much from that. Fairly breezy though across the northern half of Scotland. That westerly airflow off the Atlantic could just cover some of those coastal hills in low cloud, but elsewhere further eastwards generally bright with the cloud above the tops. Generally, high pressure then is expected to be around into the start of next week. We've got low pressure out over the Atlantic though, and there'll be much uncertainty how that develops at this stage. So just watch the forecast detail as we go further forwards. I suspect it's a week where the high is often nearby, but some weather fronts just draped around the top side of it occasionally may just spoil things now and again across Scotland in particular, with some patchy rain and drizzle focused over more western mountains, some of that occasionally pushing eastwards. So some days will fare better than others in terms of the detail for the week ahead, but high pressure is always quite close by, so it's a reasonably fine story, not unsettled, but just not completely fine, glorious summer weather all the way through. Overall, though, temperatures will be quite a bit warmer than recent times, but an odd day in northern Scotland still, trying to draw in that cooler air just from the northwest. So just watch for those variabilities in the week ahead. Looking further ahead into the start of July, and the signals we're getting from the forecast models are quite weak at this stage, which just suggests confidence in the forecast evolution is uncertain. There's a weak suggestion of high pressure being a little bit further north by this stage, which would give perhaps a better chance for fine conditions across most of Scotland by that time, maybe just a greater risk of something more mixed further south, with some occasional thunderstorms possibly getting in there. And I think that trend is where I'd go at this stage. Mostly some fine weather, just watch for an odd day, which is poorer and thundery. Temperatures overall looking on the warmer side, no immediate signals for any long-lived hot spells. There may be a few warmer days in the mix, certainly compared to recent times. But again, I think that idea of being a little bit of a mixture, but overall better than what we've seen, is the message in the next few weeks. Hopefully that gives you something to work with. We shall keep you updated on all the details and all your local information, of course, every day on our website. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.